Hi everybody, I'm Josh Berry, inventor of the Berry Bracket. Today we are working on a big remodel. Come on in, let me show it to you. This was a house that we wired 23 years ago, and we're doing a big remodel. I'll take you around and show you some of the stuff we're going to be working on. This area has always been a second living room, a den. This area used to be the kitchen. They had an island there, and there was actually a wall here and a wall there. They took all that out, opened up this entire space. And there was a wall here going into a second living room, and that's been removed, so this whole area is open now. This is just going to be one big living room essentially. And in the kitchen here, let me show you what we got. In the middle of the area is a very large, I think it's 100-inch by 50-inch or 60-inch island, big rectangular island. And there'll be cabinets and countertop all the way down that wall and the opposite wall. And it's just basically a big square. And I've got two pendants up in the ceiling, and other than that, it's all going to be ultra thin LEDs. I just put them in a square pattern around the perimeter, in between the cabinets and the island, obviously. And I've got a couple over here I'll show you. These will be switched separately by themselves. They're just kind of accent lights that'll shine down right in front of the fireplace. Should look really cool. And let me go ahead and show you the living room as well. And what I do generally in any kind of open space like this, you just figure out the adequate amount of lights you think you'll need and just try to space them out as equally as possible. And of course, the great thing with these ultra thin LEDs is I don't even bother looking up. I just figure out how many lights I want, get my measurements, because I know that wherever I put the bracket, it's going to work, and I'll be able to get a light in there. Let me go ahead and show you our bracket. All right, it's been a couple years now since the bracket's been in full production, and there's been a couple changes, and I just want to talk about those changes. Originally, we were using a different kind of metal, but we've found out that the best metal, what works best, is called 26 gauge Galvalume, and that's what this is. And it just slides really well. The knockout, even with those very, very small little pieces, it stays in there super good, but at the same time, it will knock out very easy. You know, extremely durable. You can't hardly hurt these things. I've done a lot of damage to them, and even when they get beat up, you know, you bend it, it's just no big deal. You just bend it back, it's gonna work fine. You can't hardly hurt them. You know, there's not much you can do to tear one up. And what also we've done is originally there was only one easy mount slot. Now of course we've got them on top and bottom, which makes it easier. And on the ends, if you can see that, there's a little nick, and that's your halfway point, center point. And I put one of those on each end. That might help. Sometimes you can't always use a laser depending on what's going on the floor, or where you're at, or if you're outside in a soffit or something like that. Sometimes you do have to use a tape measure to figure out exactly where you want to be. And of course with the center hole, use that with your tape as well. And if you're trying to line things up on joists, when you have it in this way, you know, you can use these little dimples as a marker for the center of the circle as well. And other than that, it's pretty much just like the original. And it's just, at this point, I've used hundreds of them. Other contractors have used hundreds of them. And, you know, there's everything about it works perfectly. I've never been hanging one and said to myself, I wish I could do this with it or that with it. It just works out perfect every time. It's a simple design, but it works extremely well. It's very effective. And like I said, there hasn't been a time yet when it hasn't done exactly what I wanted. This is just your basic laser. That's what most people have. The leg for mine's broken, so I gotta use a piece of wood. But I make my mark on the floor, And this particular job, these floors are going to get refinished, but it's a nice hard oak wood and I can't really draw on it. You definitely don't want to use a Sharpie and a pencil just doesn't show up. So I put down some painter's tape and made my crosshair where I need it. And let's see where it comes out. Go on in here, get a good look at it. Now, as rare as it is, this one actually came out right between where I need it, right there. And like I said, I like to use these 3/4 inch Phillips pan heads. Just a good little wood screw. They shoot through this metal real easy if you need to. You get one in there, it'll stay. Hold it back up. Now, obviously you can see that the laser's hitting my center hole, which means that's exactly where I want it. And since I didn't screw through the centerpiece, I need to crimp that down, and all I do is take a pair of side cutters and I give it a pretty healthy crimping. I'll do it 4 times. That way there's no chance of anybody knocking it loose, and you can see it's not going anywhere. Once you get it where you want it, take out your center knockout and it's a done deal. Your light's ready. When you pull a wire, you'll end up just leaving that wire there like I've showed you in the other videos. And it's good to go. Sheetrockers will cut that hole for you. Makes everything super easy. And as you can see, it takes virtually no time to hang one of these. All right, and while we're up here, I want to show you something, or better yet, we'll move on to this other light down here. Okay, now, this is a recessed can. I'm going to show you why these are virtually worthless, especially in a job like this. Now, I told you earlier how I've made my layout. I've got them exactly where I want my lights. I've got them centered on this window, which frames up the whole room very nicely. I've got them equally spaced for sufficient and adequate lighting. Don't need any more, don't need any less. That's the exact amount of lights I want. And like I said, when I figure out where I want my light, I make a mark on the floor and I don't even care what's going on in the ceiling, because with the ultra thins and the berry bracket, it doesn't matter. You can put them anywhere you want. But if you want to use this guy, the old recessed can, let me show you something. This is one of the lights I need in this row of lights. Look what's going on in that void. In the old days, you had to use a recessed can. Obviously, not going to happen in that void, which means you got to change your layout. Which means I've got to be over here, or I've got to be over here, and that changes everything drastically, several inches. Which means I'd have to go back and just change everything, and it's going to throw off the position of my lights, and it's not going to give me what I want, and it's not going to look good, and it's just going to ruin my whole lighting design. Can't use this. However, regardless of what's in the ceiling, even all this, I mean, never before in history could you put a light in here. Even with a bracket box, you could maybe squeeze one in there, or a single gang, but even only there, not even here. You know, unless I move the plumber's pipe. And it's a terrible place to put a light unless it's an ultra thin LED. And you'll see right here, even with all this stuff up in there, I just put my bracket wherever I want my light. I could put this just like that, pull up there, right on the mark, exactly where I want to be. And on this one, I will go through the centerpiece because it's right there on the wood. Like I said, those screws shoot right through it. Very easy. There. Boom. I mean, you know, and look what we got here. This is just an excellent example of why these ultra thin LEDs and the Berry bracket can't be beat. I mean, look at all that madness. That guy, I need to actually nail that up a little more so it's hanging down below the ceiling. But right there, even with all that, you get in there good, see all that? I mean, it's just, you know, never before could you ever put a light in a position like that. But with these LEDs, you can, and it's okay. And even with this plumbing, these LEDs, they don't get hot, they don't need air. It just doesn't matter what's up there. I mean, it truly is a game changer. It makes things a lot faster, a lot easier. It's like I was saying, if I was using recessed cans in a situation like this, I'd have to lay out all my cans and see if where I want them is going to work. And if there's one single can that's messing up my layout, I gotta change the entire layout. And I could spend hours in one room trying to figure out the best position. And after doing all that, I'm probably not gonna end up with the original lighting design that I wanted. Like on this one in particular, I'd have to just move everything. It just would have thrown it all off. It wouldn't have looked good. It would have messed up the lighting. But with the LED ultra thins and the Berry bracket, you can just put them anywhere you want, and it saves a ton of time. Because all you got to do is get a measurement, make a mark on the floor, shoot the bracket up, and you're ready to go. And as you can see, the carpenters just got done tearing out the ceiling. They had recessed cans. That was actually the original shower, and that was a can for the shower. And of course, it had a shower trim, and the rest of these cans just all around. It's old heat vent lights going away. All these cans are going bye-bye. And the new shower is going to be right here. You can see the fixture, and it's pretty big. There's a wall right here, and it comes around to this pony wall and goes up and be a big glass door right there. And with the ultra thin LEDs, you know, naturally they got lucky on this one, whatever. It is in the void. I'm going to end up putting one light in here. It'll be somewhere in this vicinity. And of course, with the ultra thin LEDs, I don't need a shower trim or anything special, just an ultra thin LED. You know, because shower trims cost more money than a regular trim. And once again, you're just saving money using ultra thin LEDs. You don't need special cans, you don't need special trims. It's easier, it's faster, you can put them anywhere. And you know, all these guys, they're going away. I mean, I can just put my lights wherever I want them. It's going to work out great, and it's going to look great. So after I get done putting these brackets in, I'll shoot another video and show you how it looks. Okay, we're inside a little kitchen pantry here, closet, and these are floor joists. And these are actually on, looks like 24-inch centers. A lot of times they'll put these on 16-inch centers. And with recessed cans, a lot of times you'd have to cut every leg so it'd fit in between the joists. In this particular spot, my laser is right there, just a couple inches off of that joist. And with a can, I can't even get it centered on where I want it. It's off about 2 inches. And another thing, which anybody that's hung recessed cans, a lot of times you'll end up having to nail through a nail plate. And it's a huge pain in the butt. A lot of times you won't get through it. Sometimes you get lucky. People usually end up not even nailing it. And you can see over here it'd be the same situation. Just a lot of trouble. And like I said, you know, I can't even get my light where I want it with this can. It's just, you know, it's not helping. But with the Berry bracket, I don't care about what kind of framing it is. I don't care if there's nail plates. I don't care if there's wood in my way. The only thing I care about is getting my light exactly where I want it. And I mean almost every single time. No problem. And I'm showing you in real time just how long it takes to hang one of these guys. And I'm going to shoot through the centerpiece on this one. The good thing about doing that is that you don't have to crimp it down, and it's guaranteed not to move regardless of who hits it. And you don't have to do it twice. Just once is plenty. I think it took all of about 30 seconds. to hang that. You just take your center knockout. You're done. Brackets hung. All you gotta do is pull your wire, leave it up there, and that's all you do on the rough end. And the sheetrockers are gonna cut that hole for me. Light's gonna go in there. It's exactly where I wanted. It's gonna be perfect. And you know, especially in a little pantry closet like this, there's gonna be shelving around the interior perimeter of it. And you don't want your light so much in the center, and you want it towards the front of the closet a little bit, because if it's in the center, you're gonna block your light on your shelving. So that's perfect. You know, like I said, when I make my lighting designs, I figure out the optimum place for a light, the best place for it. And because of the Berry Bracket and ultra thin LEDs, nothing matters. I can put it anywhere I want, and I'll always get my light exactly where I want. I love it. Customers love it. It looks good. It works good. You cannot beat it. Okay, here is a super duper example of why the Berry Bracket and ultra thin LEDs are the only way to go. We're in the kitchen. These are 12-foot ceilings, maybe 13. And as I was showing you earlier, I got my layout. That's exactly where I want my lights. That's exactly how many lights I want. It's gonna look beautiful when it's done. And I can't be adjusting due to framing. And if I was using a recessed can, that's where the center of my light is, right there, where the laser is. If I was using a can, well, no, that's off. Well, that's off. It's just, you know, I couldn't get it where I wanted. As you know, I'd have to change everything. All right, these are 2x8 ceiling joists, and this is just a typical recessed can. It will fit up in there. But if this was 2x6 joist or 2x4 joist, your typical can would not fit. You'd have to get a low boy can, and they're a lot more than a regular can. So this thing is, you know, no good. But when you've got the Berry Bracket and ultra thin LEDs, once again, I don't care what's in my way. I can put my light exactly where I want it. I mean, look at all this framing. I'm gonna get it right about there. Just figure out where you want it. Give it a shot. Make sure you're on there. I am. I'm gonna go straight through everything on this one. I could even shoot it over here, it just doesn't much matter, wherever. Oh, right there. Take your center knockout out, and I got the light exactly where I wanted. I mean, every time I use these, every time I use ultra thin LEDs, I'm just blown away, because it's, you know, never before could you do this. And it just makes everything so much easier, so much faster. And of course, those ultra thin LEDs look great. They give great light. You can get them in 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 2,700 Kelvin, 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch. They come in all different sizes. And I've found several brands that I've used that are extremely dimmable, 10% or less, using just your basic standard dimmers. You don't need a special LED dimmer or anything, LED dimmer, anything like that. Just a regular dimmer. I mean, like I said, for the past couple of years, I've been using brackets and those ultra thin LEDs, and I have had zero problems with both of them. They work awesome. The customers love them. They look great, and it just makes everything faster and easier, and time is money. If you think you're saving money with recessed cans, you're not. It takes a lot longer to lay out recessed cans. It takes longer to mount them. It takes longer to wire them. They're big, they're bulky. When we were doing big custom homes that would have 150, 200 recessed cans, we literally had to take a 16-foot trailer from the supply house just to carry all the cans. Don't need to do that anymore. Like I said, just the cans are not the cheaper way to go. You might save money on material in the beginning, but you're gonna spend a lot more money on labor, and time is money and labor is expensive. Berry Bracket, ultra thin LEDs is the only way to go.